So I'm not calling in the dogs, you know.
No, it's fine, I'll do it. I'll do it.
Nobody appreciates that.
What was that?
I'm not calling in the dogs.
You know what, isn't it sad though that you can't talk to higher ups at all without it becoming a huge,
Apparently that was really stupid.
like a huge thing?
I know. It's like scandalous.
Yeah, it becomes like a big thing, and somehow it becomes your fault. Like you had nothing to do with it, you just
Somehow it's
happened to
gonna come
see
back
it,
on me. Yeah.
and somehow it's gonna be like, you just fucking sleeping through his shit. Like, you
Yeah.
are being like ridiculous and out of hand, and like mind your own business, and you're just gonna be like, I'm not saying you should fire him or punish him, I'm just saying no, like, and it's like, mind your business, like, it's your fault, like, anyways. Why didn't you test her? Like, that's what we're trying to do, and you're just like, that's what it all comes down to. And I was like, guys, is there anything we can do to work out together? Like, let's do that, like, all
Yeah,
this
don't
is the
involve-
best, because it's so horrible.
We'll handle it ourselves.
Well, yeah, like, seriously, if you guys want to call something office meeting, we'll have our own office meeting together without that. Like, we don't need them, like, to...
Don't need the drama.
No, honestly, you know what? Seriously, I think, you know when they put us out in the waiting room, we were all together?
Yeah.
I think that could have gone well had they not been there. Guys, who wants to talk about what today? Like, what kind of issues we having?
Yeah, right.
We feel better.
I agree.
I agree. That's what I think. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, no problem. I'll take care of it. Sometimes it overlaps. Sometimes I can have it. I know, sometimes that overlaps. So, here's a patient who's due on the 15th, just called, hung up on me, yelled at me and hung up on me. Because she said she got a broken healthy plan, but she hasn't gotten hearing aids yet. And I'm like, that's because of the date that sometimes overlaps. And she's like, they're telling me they're going to show some interest, but I don't have them yet. I'm like, you have to pay their third party if that's their due date. You know, you're going to be getting them, you know, next week or something like that.
Right.
So I said, you know, but you can always return it and get your money back. Well, she's like, well, no, because I have good insurance, you guys are quick to pay for it or to send the bill out, and I don't believe that you couldn't have waited until the delivery to run the payment. And I'm like, they do not let us order the hearing aids without being paid for. And she said, well, I don't believe that, and I'm going to talk to somebody about this, and I should cancel the order, and then hung up on me. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not arguing with you there. You call you if somebody on him, you can yell at him too, but.
Right. Hey, Mr. Gary.
Yeah.
Gary, Aaron, not good. There you are. You're welcome. All right. Beautiful day out there, huh?
Yeah, gorgeous.
All right, so.
I got your ad in the mail,
Okay.
and you're just what I needed.
All right,
I
good.
know I need hearing aids.
Okay. Then that's another, but I mean, hopefully
No.
that's not the case, so. Anyway, we'll be doing the hearing and speech
Okay, I don't think
testing
it's anything
today.
that dramatic.
Yes,
It's just-
I don't expect it.
But I know that happens in hearing loss, so.
Yeah.
I can identify that in myself.
Okay.
Be short and fat, they had to give me their hearing as well.
Sounds like something I like.
And the gray hair, got that from them too.
Well, at least it's nice.
I should have
Nice,
picked better parents.
pretty white color. Hey, you're right, that's not like.
Funny.
You were platinum blonde.
No. Somebody asked me not long ago, what color was your hair? And I had to stop and think. I had to stop and think what color my hair was.
That's funny. So when did your hair turn?
16. My girlfriend started to pull them out of my hair. She sat behind me in high school, and she would pull them out of my
Really?
hair in high school. Yeah.
That is pretty young.
Yeah.
That happens, though. All right, so I want to take a look in your ears, if you don't mind.
Okay, sure.
Because, yeah, that would be the start. Right back at me like it should. Nice healthy eardrum. All clear. No significant wax or accumulation. Probably knew that. Already been checked, but. Very good. All right.
Now, what is your background? Are you an audiologist?
No, I actually.
You're a certified what?
Hearing instrument specialist.
Okay.
I actually, if you're interested, I've been sitting hearing aids for the last 14 years. All right. Now, when I got into it, at that point in time, prior to that, I was doing work with a consulting company. We'd go to factories, basically, right, and we'd do testing for exposures, right, whether it be chemical and that could be a source of the skin or the air, that sort of thing, lead exposures, those sorts of things, but also industrial hygiene, noise exposure,
Mm-hmm.
right, and then of course with OSHA requirements, there may be, that was, I mean, you can imagine you're going to a plant, now some employees might need special training for this or what have you, but almost all of them needed ear conservation training, so that was my baby. So
you didn't know you were going to learn that much about the inside of the ear, did
that's
you?
right. So in fine tuning those presentations and those training programs, and calling a friend of mine that strong desire to help people and that sort of thing. So I was looking at my different options, and I graduated from Grove City College with a degree in biology. So anyway, so I was looking at maybe going to biology. So told me all about the program, and at that point it was a master's level,
Mm-hmm.
and
I think it still is.
and now it's on doctor of audiology. It's a doctorate program. So they were in the midst of starting the
When I
transition.
researched it, the research I came up with said it was just a master's program.
If you go now, it's all it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, he gave me a great explanation. Okay, it's the program, and it's transitioning. But if you were to start now, then you wouldn't have to do the doctor. You can just do the master's program. Great full explanation, and then he said, and by the way, I was thinking about hiring somebody. So here I am,
That's the right place at the
14
right
years
time.
ago.
Well,
14 years
having gone the
later.
audiologist route, I've decided that you and they are on the same level, that they
Well,
are
that's
no
exactly
better
what he
than
said.
you.
So as an audiologist, he's telling me, look, you get paid the same money, but you could do the same thing, get paid the same money, and not have all the student loans and all that. Okay.
That sounded good.
So my training was under his tutelage. So of course with my background, that's not required to have a bachelor's degree, right?
Yeah.
But with that sort of background, I guess you could gather that I'm doing more analytical and more interested in that. Okay.
And they are the worst of it.
Well, I guess that's true. But at any rate, so normally you're hearing complaints, but
But
when
hopefully
you
you're
hear the
solving
good stuff.
complaints.
Well, that's, oh, absolutely, but you don't always hear the good things, like thank you, and this helped me because of that. But you do sometimes, and so you have to cling on to that. So they're very stoic people. Hard to read. I don't know about you, but that's like, so it feels awkward. Not a single smile or even nothing to read.
Well, nobody wants to come here.
Well, I guess
You
so.
know, and
But
it-
that was, comes back in, sitting, now, a little background, we always, we found that it's much more successful to work in this way. When we fit a hearing aid, we want to start, a lot of practices still do that, say, okay, we'll wear it an hour or two a day and work your way up to it. Well, guess where you think it ends up spending time? Well,
Oh.
because they never really get there.
Well,
But they also say, well, call us if you have any troubles. Okay, whatever. So we just don't think that's a good formula for success. So it's much more successful because, of course, what we're really doing is we're retraining your brain, and it's doing well. So I'm done with the appointment, right? And okay, we're going to see you back, and we also provide the maintenance, the cleanings, and all that ongoing, no charge. So we're going to schedule you. We're going to get some batteries up front, put you back in 3 or 4 months, whatever it was. And I'm like this, ready to stand up. He's sitting right where you're at. He says to me, "Oh, hold on a second." I'm like, "Oh no, right? I just wanted to thank you for marriage."
Oh.
So what's my reaction? No, you got to be
Hey,
joking.
show reaction.
So this is that Mr.
Yeah.
Stoicism, right?
Yeah.
And I'm laughing it off, like, yeah, right. And his wife says, no, he's right. And then she said, well, I'm glad to hear that.
I fought
I
with
would
my
be.
mother for 20 years
Didn't
for her to get here, and then she wouldn't do it. And I always swore, if I can't hear, I'm going to go. That I will not hesitate. If you need it, go and do it.
Honestly, we're going to do that.
Okay.
My goals for you, I want to, of course, I'm going to give you a little background education. I like that. I like doing that. People say sometimes, you need the help, and I want to help you to get the appropriate help.
Oh, I need the help.
So, okay. Well, let me ask you first, are you familiar with the audiogram?
Yes.
Okay. So, do you understand
These are the hertz and these are the decibels.
That's right. So we're testing the speech range, right? Deeper, lower frequencies to treble, right? Left to right. And then how your brain processes speech. So, as you're probably aware, if I asked you, how do you hear, most people would answer with your ears, but it's only half true. The rest is with your brain. Because your brain, after the sound is funneled, et cetera, the cochlea generates the nerve impulses, right? Extend along the 8th cranial nerves to the auditory processing regions. Wernicke's area of the brain is responsible for speech processing.
And I have learned that you hear 85% on one and 15 on the other, and is that in each ear, correct?
Well, it's
This ear, 85% is going to the opposite side.
hearing loss, right? What are we doing? Inadvertently, we're depriving our brain of that stimulation and the auditory
And they hear
processing
like
region.
cells in the cochlea are going to die.
Well, they don't die. I mean, those cilia, those feel like projections from those cells. They don't grow back. They become. They probably appreciate this. Dr. Lin, who is with Johns Hopkins University, and his team of researchers.
Okay, so you're saying the atrophy.
Centimeter in a year.
Makes sense.
So using MRI imaging. So yeah. So it does, but that's kind of scary because I don't want to lose any of my brain tissue, Matt.
That's why I'm here.
Right. Yeah, that's good.
I'm going to get the damn hearing aid and wear it to keep what I have.
That's right. Well, I'm glad to hear you say that. This study was basically born of learning more, of course, on a dementia scale, it includes Alzheimer's. That one was huge because they were looking for any health risk, but they certainly weren't expecting hearing loss to be it. And they found, did you read this one?
No. Talk louder and everything will be fine. That was the answer to everything. I am not my mother.
Well, in some ways that's good, right?
Yeah.
In other ways, you are your mother, right? And we all have good things and bad things we can get from our parents. Results are, and we'll go over them once we're done.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
All right, so your ears are clear, so let me get that out of your way. And come on over. Let me turn on the light. Watch your step, please. All right. You okay? Okay, can you hear me? All right, so okay, if I can hear you. Okay, thanks. All right, as I said, you can listen for the beeps, but I do want to reiterate, even if it does sound soft or faint, it counts. So, I'm going to be the... Can you hear me? All right, now we're going to switch over to your left ear. Any questions so far? All right, keep doing what you're doing now. Can you hear me? All right, so we're going to start the speech testing here. All right, so for the speech test, you don't have to push the button. Just ask you to repeat some words. All right, and so, yeah, good. Now we're going to continue the speech testing in a moment, but first, I want you to choose the volume that sounds most clear and comfortable. To accomplish that, right now you're just hearing me in your right ear. I'm going to... All right, good. Okay, so now we're going to do the speech test, and I'll present a list of words to you. All of these words are one-syllable words, and each word is presented in the same format. It always is introduced by the same short phrase. Can you hear me? All right. Last but not least is the thumb connection threshold test. That's done with the headband, so I'll come over and set that up for you. You may recall it would be a little pressure behind one ear or the other.
And I listen for words of each.
Beats again. There we go. Good. Good. You're on that. All right. And as you're probably aware, that last one was to compare previous results. So.
You're the first one that did that.
Really?
The audiologist didn't do it.
Oh. There you go. You're welcome. All right. So. Would it surprise you if I said you had a hearing loss?
No, nor anybody in my family.
You can actually you can keep that.
Oh, thank you.
So, you're right, not even anybody saying. Okay, so remember those same references. So, you know, perfectly normal, right?
Writing backwards.
No. I can trace backwards. All right, so then, as you can see in both cases, in general, we would actually describe your hearing loss in general as basically mild, sloping to moderate. It does kind of understate the issue. Down here, AI, I don't know if you've ever heard that referred to, but AI is the articulation index, okay? So, and of course, if we were in school, we wouldn't be happy with just a 78, right?
Yeah.
Darn it, should have studied harder, right?
I should have come sooner.
Well, that's true. That's true. But here's the good news, right? So with the speech test, now you chose a...
In the 70s, I'm going to go home and scream at her on the phone, make her come to...
Hey, but you'd be screaming at her in love, right? But that's true. It's true.
Yeah, she won't,
Well, you know, for most people, you know, their hesitation, the reasons why they hesitate in doing anything, you know, you take notes, I don't mind.
Okay.
I just want to let you know, yeah,
Mhm.
I'm going to give you this copy here.
Okay.
I printed out for you, so I'll have one for your file.
All right, so what's going to help me?
All right, well, that's the next thing to talk about. But before we get there, I just want to mention a question.
No.
Okay. All right. So, now the answer to your question, of course, is not an easy one to just spit out because everybody is different.
Yeah, I know.
And how our brains process sounds. So I would anticipate you doing that.
Yeah, it's very analytical.
Okay, that's good. I like that.
I have to find out why things work.
Yeah, me too.
Drives people crazy.
Well,
You ask
sometimes.
so many questions, because I haven't got it figured out yet.
That's right. I need to get my arms around my brain around it, really. I enjoy that too. Well, that makes it easy. Okay, now well, I'm glad you could appreciate that. Now, I want to use a casual conversational tone, and if we were at a table with friends, 6 to 8 feet, I like to do this at. And so, using my casual conversational voice, of course, I just missed one of those. I'm sure it's more noticeable, right? You said in the beginning when there's any degree of background noise present, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, now speech and noise. So if we walked up to the cafeteria, now we don't have to. Let's play that song. All right, you ready? Okay. Say the word tax.
Tax.
Good. Say the word teeth. Good.
Here's a guessing on that one.
Good job. All right, so very good. So the upside there, you don't have a significantly harder time in noise. That's great.
But I did struggle.
I mean, that's the obvious part. Have you noticed I'm an optimist? So you're right, yeah. I mean, you did struggle,
Yeah.
and you were guessing. And, in a normal conversation, you don't have that introductory phrase and that time, that luxury of guessing.
Right.
And so,
Right.
but, we're doing the evaluation in apples to apples. So, all right, next, let's see how you do. Let's give you some help, right? Let's see here. Okay. So it's
Well,
best for you
tell me
to-
why you're recommending behind here.
Well, based on your test results.
Okay.
So, we don't want to fully occlude or plug up your ear canal because it's depending on but your ear canal is very narrow. So if I tried to build a hearing aid, in say
In the canal, you can't, what is it you need to build into that
no. Trying to, now of course I don't know everything that you understand yet.
yeah,
So, forgive me, I'll back up. Over for a vent, not much.
okay. And that
So-
would lead to more ear infections, I would imagine.
Not necessarily, we always put at least a pressure vent on there, a very small vent.
Okay.
But, that wouldn't be nearly large enough, not
No,
as important as the cosmetic.
No,
as
there's
the
no
performance.
vanity here.
Okay.
Whatever's gonna work the best
All right,
is what I
good.
need.
Music to my ears then. By the way, and of course we do have everything all the way to the smallest, and this one they call invisible in the canal, because this is the entrance of the canal, and that's where it's something like 5,000 times more durable. So yours obviously that much deeper, that would be a big
With
problem.
these,
if it
I've
fell
read
off.
that the tips come off, so there's
Well,
none that are perfect.
It's a risk.
I'm not opposed to these, I just want an explanation from you why you feel that is the best,
I don't have any question about that. You and I are close to better retention, and it's less likely to fall off.
Okay.
But the other thing is lack of maintenance. Some of those domes from some of the manufacturers, the more they were in your ear canal.
Really?
Yeah, they are.
Now, does certain hearing loss in certain ranges dictate one style of hearing aid over the other?
Yeah. So, if the person has, I appreciate, in working here I've worked for a couple other private practices, is that we really do have the freedom to choose whatever hearing aid seems best for that particular patient. basically, all right, so we'll get to that here in one
Okay.
second. This is my wireless programmer. Okay. And all that stuff pretty much doesn't matter unless it works, right?
Right.
So, I would say the proof is in the pudding, right? So let's see how you get. Now, I muted these. And I'll unmute them in a moment, but
Okay.
they're muted because I want to try it on first. Okay. So I went with the smallest, just because your mouths are kind of narrow eventually, but it's hard to really fully estimate that. Not someone with experience.
What other brands do you sell?
I've done too much with them right now. Yeah, those are the main ones right now. Is there anything that you were like particularly hot on?
No, I
Yeah.
just was trying to find out what's out there. I looked on Consumer Reports, but I can't find anywhere where they rate them and say, this company has a bad reputation, that one has
They
a
tried.
good one.
They tried. I forget how long ago it was that they did have an article, and I was like, how could they possibly do that? But I read it. It was interesting because they had some ratings, but really out of it, it's going to sound like junk.
Yeah, but there must be some kind of a rating system, which ones break down the most, which have the most trouble.
Yeah, you'd think.
Is there any
There's not, actually.
publication or any agency that does that?
Nope. No, and as you can imagine, there's variability. In working with different manufacturers, first of all, that's one of the issues, is if I start to see that there's a reliability issue, I'm not going to feel comfortable recommending it anymore, because it makes me look bad, right? So, and most manufacturers now are much better. Let's get these turned on, or muted.
Okay.
Now you're at that estimated prescribed level, 100% of that, but most people have a hard time tolerating that initially.
It's a little loud.
A little bit loud. I expected that.
And I hear the feedback.
In my voice now.
No.
Okay, good. All right. That tells me a lot, actually, and I've learned over the years that tends to be a good starting point. And other voices sound pretty normal, a little different, but not bothersome at all.
Cut my fingers, I never would have heard that before.
So, how about the mouth?
Yeah, I can hear that.
Yeah, good. All right, so I imagine you'll do well, but we're going to find out. Now, this next list, we'll do an inquiry again, but this next list has a lot of very soft consonants in it. Let's see how you do. All right, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Say the word hand.
Hand.
Say the word peach.
Peach.
Say the word. Good job. All right. Not surprising. I expected you to do well. Now let's let you hear, again, this restaurant sound clip. I read in the newspaper. Oh, that cafeteria, right? Okay, or restaurant. Okay, so, apples to apples. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Say the word wrist.
Wrist.
Good. Say the word place. Say the word place.
Oh, place.
Good. And you could tell I didn't raise my voice. So just make sure I enunciated it correctly. All right, good job. And very good. Now, in the real world, one challenge for people with hearing loss is speech at a distance. So, in that case, probably not facing the person, but let's see how you do.
Okay.
All right? Okay. Let me ask you an easy one. I'll just go to the doorway in distance here. You stay where you're at. You don't have to turn or anything. Ready?
Right.
All right. What did you have for breakfast? So, see that? You're capable of doing very well. Good job. So, you didn't miss any of the words. You got them all right. Nice and easy for you, because now you can hear properly.
Yeah.
So thankfully your brain's not the problem. All right. That's great.
Do people have a problem with these falling off?
No. Not unless, well, I mean that little loop. sometimes.
No,
but,
it's
no?
right, stay on,
Good.
yeah.
Most, actually, yeah, I would say probably 3/4 of my patients with that style wear glasses. You do notice, of course, that won't surprise you, but it surprised me that men, we like to wear hair a lot shorter than you do, but right there where that would sit, that's not in our hairline, it's actually against the skin color, and that's the earhub to blend in with that. So they're not trying skin tone, or hair color,
Yeah.
darken extra glasses, and it's camouflaged that way. So, anyway, you did really well. So, the question I had here and understand like this all the time.
Of course, it wouldn't. That's why I'm here.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that, but you know what, at the same time, you'd be surprised what people say when they come in, the classic, but I couldn't imagine that. Yep, well, good for you, already figuring it out.
Yeah.
Yep.
I finally did get my mother to wear hearing aids, but I think she was so far gone by that time, they were never used.
Good question. There we go. Put your copy of the test and that article in here. I like it. You're adventurous and willing to try it on your own. And I always like people to try it before they get the chance to look in the mirror. That's pretty good. And of course, I'll teach you the pro tip. And we want
Yeah,
that wire in close.
You don't get them down correctly.
That's right. You're not going to hear properly. You might hear somewhat, but it's not going to be quite as good. All right.
They're fine.
That was close. That was actually really good. Okay, so the
Does this have the,
one or two.
they all have different models.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So does this
Oh yeah.
go behind the ear?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. You asked about warranty. Oh,
Yeah.
that's your thing. Never mind. Here's my thing. Okay, so now, Hearing Unlimited, first of all, we've been in business here in the Pittsburgh area since 19. Good question. All right.
Well, what's the average longevity of a hearing aid?
No, okay. What you want it to be. No. The button can be configured. We can either leave it disabled, which is the way most patients want it, but it can be a volume control, or it has two different nulls in terms of noise reduction, but then that focus could include myself, but then what happens if somebody walks up to the table and starts talking to you? Well, it's going to pick that up and it'll open that. How many channels do you want? The number of bands and channels has obviously become less relevant. But when you are looking at all these hearing aids things, there's more to it. And that's what most people, consumers, don't understand. So that's why, it's just not worth it.
Yeah, but you didn't answer that question, how many channels?
Well, I mean, I can give you the answer, but that doesn't tell you whether it's better or not, does it?
I understand, but it'll tell me how many channels.
And so what does that mean to you, though? I mean, that's an honest question, though.
It's one of the comparisons. Okay.
So, and then you look at a manufacturer like Siemens. I have never had a Siemens rep ever explain to me how they can possibly advertise 48 or 36 channels. Right. So gain points is, so in that regard it is important because we test frequencies, right? So, here you go. So you want to have these minimum number of gain handles, if you want to be the most precise, right? Notch and that sort of thing? No, you don't. So what you would hear in terms of differences between the products isn't bands and channels, but rather you do hear, unless you have one of those crazy hearings, which you don't. So for most people, what they're going to hear is the noise reduction. But that's not something that you can look at, Phonak, Oticon, Starkey, That's not something that is on paper. You know, the performance, of course, changes based on the manufacturer, but it is always entry-level basic premium. Oh, this covers all of them here, so let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So, the hearing test is out, look, yeah, so the speech range for ALO test, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So, what more do we need, right? But what we do need, though, is something that, when we talk about that noise reduction system, is we need it to react speech versus noise, right? So, Oticon's philosophy, and when you look at Oticon's website, it's based in Denmark. Process oriented, and it's just an entirely different logistical manner of reasoning. My wife, her car is a Volkswagen. The manual's this thick. Most people understand it's process oriented, and the navigation system and everything is so weird. But once you read it, then you understand, oh, that was because it can flex and adapt and move based on that phonetic sound that you just said, that speech sound, right? So we don't want to harm that speech signal. We don't want to return tone. Oh yeah, now I'm back to normal. You know, it's easy. So,
and it comes with a remote, I assume.
Well, you can get a remote with it, and there are remotes like just general, you know, basic remotes, and then there are the.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
So, at any rate, so you have do you have insurance benefits for your towards hearing aids?
Yes.
Okay, good. So that would, of course, and what insurance company do you have? Or insurance do you have? What
Highmark.
Is it through Highmark? Okay, so we're in-network providers, so no issue there. All right, so the what do I recommend for you, right? Okay, no big deal, but now I'm listening through your ears, thinking about your experience. You know what? That is pretty loud, actually. It is. But until I think about it, it's not. You happen to know what your benefits are?
No.
No. Okay.
So just give me the price.
All right.
The model and the price.
Well, because our insurance person works half a day, and we're by pulling up your name.
Okay.
So.
I'm not concerned about that right now.
Well, it's an important consideration because you have great coverage.
How do you know it's covered?
Because we're in network with Highmark. So we can check Highmark and UPMC online, and now that comes off the top because we're in network providers. We can bill them directly. All right. So if you want to look at a mid-level digital, this is a great product right here. All right, $45.95. This one I've had great financial.
That's for one or for the pair?
That's for the pair.
Okay.
Thank you. Perfect. And of course that includes all the lifetime customer service guarantee. And these two models. Now there's one model that's one step up, and we might as well call that one super premium, but I don't think that it's really, I mean, for some people it makes a difference, but I think that with the improvements that they put into this Nero thing.
Okay.
The Nero 2 is the one that's $55.95. Yeah, as a matter of fact, Gary works in the very next office over. Gary and I are both here 5 days a week, full time every day. And then we have our technician, and we have one of the providers that comes in. He's here a couple days a week, so across the hallway to get another office because we're so busy here.
Okay.
So yeah, we're definitely full time here.
Well, and they're only there part-time. So you think,
Right.
well, the office is closed, and then you find out, but they're only there one day a week.
Yeah.
In that office.
I mean, that seems crazy.
It's
One person for one day, no. You know, yeah, it does make a big good question, and you're right, most people don't ask.
No,
So,
I'm sure they don't think about it.
what questions do you have for me on this?
It's fine.
So, you said you wanted to do some research, and you can do lots of
Yeah.
research if you
Yeah,
like.
I've looked up Oticon a little bit, but like I say, their website was a little bit harder to navigate.
Right.
So I'll go back in now and have some specifics to look at.
Let me ask you a crazy question.
Yeah.
Or is this some, like, ghost, person
Well, the
that they're...
glowing reviews, you can question that about, but the complaining, you think that they go to all the...
Or is that
trouble
their
to complain.
competitor?
Oh, well.
They do that.
Mhm.
So, there's more information you could actually want out there. So that's why I try to ask, what sort of information are you looking for? We've been fitting Oticon hearing aids for several years. They'll last a lot.
Oh, it
Coming from
really
you.
does, it really does. And you explain things, and
Thanks.
that makes a big difference. And it certainly boosts your credibility.
Thanks.
She just rushed me through it and shoved them at me. And,
Right.
oh, well, yeah, I couldn't have any faith.
But
in
we've
her.
learned that we need to ask questions even of our doctors.
Yeah.
You know,
No, you're
'cause
very,
they don't know the
very,
answers all the time.
You're very thorough, and I would have a lot of faith in what your
Thanks.
opinion was. I really do.
Thanks.
You beat the audiologist.
Oh, thanks. Here we go.
I appreciate you. Oh, that's
You're
right.
welcome. Yeah, my programmer.
I appreciate
Thank
you
you.
taking the time to
You're welcome.
give me the test and the bad news.
No, it wasn't really anything that you didn't know.
That's right.
Let me ask you a question
Yeah.
Before you run.
Yeah.
Most people, when they leave, of course, I know you want to check these things out, by all means. Most people, too, didn't hear as well as they did.
Oh, no.
But the other thing that happens is, inevitably, you're going to think of questions that you forgot to ask.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing that's helpful, if you'd like, I would recommend color. If you're thinking positively about that, do you want to look at the colors before you run?
I guess so. It's not all that important to me.
Well, do you want pink? Probably not, right?
I guess something that'll blend in with the gray hair would be good.
And I'll help you with the mirror. You want to just sit down? It's easier.
Mm-hmm.
I'll hold the mirror up for you and everything. You know what? The white is way too opaque.
Okay.
Your hair, even though it's pretty bright, and I
Mhm.
like it, I love the color, but it's got depth. It really does stand out.
Okay.
All right, so these two colors look pretty good, but I want you to see, because, of course, I look at all these dark colors that aren't going to blend. All right, so, of course it's tucked behind your ear, and you wouldn't normally see it anyway. All right, so, yes.
I can see the tip of it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so this is like a sterling silver kind of look.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
That blends pretty well.
Okay.
If you're looking at hair color,
Sure.
I'm going to make a note of that, so that way that's
Alrighty.
one less reason why you need to come back. Number 44 on that color check.
Okay.
All right, cool.
44. I'll mark it on my list.
Oh, man, that's one of my sons. I have two boys. I have a 14-year-old and an 11-and-a-half-year-old. And my 14-year-old, oh my gosh, his favorite thing to say is when there's a commercial on TV, and it's Lime, and they call this number.
That's a crazy dance.
Ooh, that's sweet. And my son says it so much that I know I could just hear him yelling at me. Sorry, one of those crazy things. All right.
Well, thank you so
Thanks,
much for
Mary.
your time. It was nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank
Bye-bye.
you very much. Don't hesitate to call, okay?